Hello and welcome to my patch notes rundown for the 13th of July. When I make these videos, my goals are to do the following when necessary: filter out non-gameplay patches, reconstruct and reword the news post, explain what has changed and how it impacts the game, showcase the updates in-game, give my personal opinion and feedback by highlighting the respective text orange. This week we have the first PAG themed Ninja Strike. The purpose of PAG is to have each member represent their respective communities and feed potential quality of life ideas to the ninja team. Also, they have updated the layout of their news post, which suitably categorizes a lot of information that used to be posted on top of each other. Without further ado, let's get stuck in. Familiars and pets can now be brought into the Mage Training Arena, Doggish Khan Agility Course, Heffin Agility Course, Falador Party Room, and Runespan. To prevent you from being overcrowded, only your pet or familiar will be visible in the Falador Party Room and Runespan. Prior to this update, you would have to dismiss your familiar to access these locations and resummon it when you left, which was a very common occurrence with these specific locations when doing clue scrolls. Also, I encountered a very minor bug when playing around with these areas where I was restricted from entering the Mage Training Arena from the basement with a familiar. The power burst of Overkill is no longer a power burst. It's now a potion called Adrenaline Renewal Potion. The name is perfectly fitting for what the potion does, and the recipe to make it remains exactly the same, excluding the need for a power burst vial. Also, the potion, like every other normal potion, can be decanted into 6 dose flasks. There's now a 2-minute cooldown for power bursts, independent from the 2-minute adrenaline cooldown. This means that drinking an adrenaline potion will no longer trigger the power burst cooldown. This is pretty big. Not only does it open up the possibility for more niche power bursts to be added in the future without being instantly overshadowed by the adrenaline potion, but it also gives some amount of use to existing power bursts. Firstly, let's look at the power burst of Vitality. This power burst doubles your current and maximum life points for 6 seconds, then halves it. It has very efficient uses, such as the early stages of P5 Telos at high enrages to lower KO potential, and at Virago, using it to reprisal during team split without losing too much of your needed health. It only has a few uses in case you mess up, for example P4 Telos, if you get the so much power with nothing up to counter it. Although it's never worth setting up with the expectation of failing a mechanic, like green at Calphi King. Also, it has a lot of uses to make encounters easier, such as tanking Nexus Prison and Solak's Blight Rain, where it acts as an indirect heal. For example, if you start with 10k life points, boost to 20k life points using the power burst of Vitality, take 10k damage, which puts you at 10k life points, and when your power burst of Vitality wears off, you revert to 5k life points. Conclusively, you take 10k damage, but you only lose 5k life points, which technically results in you negating 5k damage. Moving on to the power burst of Feats, which makes all special move cost no points for 10.2 seconds. Since we'll be using the Ripper Demon as our example, the power burst of Feats will always cover 3 special moves for the familiar regardless of timing. Theoretically, there are situations where it would act as a stronger inventory slot than the Spiritual Prayer Potion, but in reality there aren't many cases where it would actually be better, let alone dismissing the use of other power bursts. Outside of that, the pro is that you can drink a dose and it will cover 3 Ripper Demon special moves without having to worry about drinking your Spiritual Prayer Potion, which gives you room to focus on higher priorities. There's also the very common occurrence to consider when using Spiritual Prayer Potions, where you would overpot your special move points and be wasteful. You can now unlock the ability to clear your adrenaline cooldowns from War's Retreat. This unlock requires 2000 boss kills and can be used by channeling any of the adrenaline crystals next to the boss portals in War's Retreat. This will work even if you're already at 100% adrenaline. However, it does not reset the power burst cooldown, and I would love to eventually see a feature that resets your ability cooldowns, whereas the current strategy is to log out and in to reset them. The Globetrotter shorts will now signal Yuri instead of performing the emote. This is not only a nice change that doesn't have you waiting to drop out of combat or wait for a stall emote, but it also significantly speeds up hard clues and all other emote type clues. Meerkat pouches can now be converted into fetch casket scrolls at a summoning obelisk at the normal rate of 10 scrolls per pouch. This is a good change, since the ratios between meerkat pouches and scrolls left the market with too many pouches and not enough scrolls. Instead of tweaking the drop amount, they made the ingenious decision to not only cause an immediate balance in price, but also leave it up to the natural demand of the economy. All players will now receive the boosted War Priest armor drop rate buff. This was previously granted from participating in the first 2 world events, essentially giving players a discontinued advantage over those who missed out. The max skill garden portals now have a do not ask me again option when tuning them to a new location. The grace period tab in the achievements interface now has separate categories for completionist, trim completionist, and master quest capes. Upon a death with no remaining lives, hardcore Iron Man accounts will now automatically be downgraded to Iron Man, rather than being permanently locked. This will happen regardless of whether the account owns additional life items such as the Jar of Divine Light. Hardcore Iron Men who were previously permanently locked out of their account can now log back in as a normal Iron Man. The accept button in the pet's customizations panel will now update the pet's appearance instantly. Telos' lesser anima bomb attack will no longer continue to damage players at the start of phase 5. The polishing perk can now upgrade Sea Salt to Ally Sea Salt. All Scrimshaw buffs now list the effects. I'm a huge advocate of tooltips, and the more intuitive and accurate they make them, the better. The Destroy ability now uses the correct animation while following up the Greater Barge ability effect. This brings it in line with the animation of all the other melee combo abilities when used as a dot, and allows you to make that distinction by observing the animation. Although the 1 tick delay on hits has been confirmed to be unintentional, which has always been the case with all the other combo abilities other than Assault, which has a natural delay. Trouble Brewing games can now be started with 1 player on the official world 104. This was a hidden update, and it allows players to unlock the music track needed for Completionist Cape without having to wait for the minigame spotlight, which could be up to 5 weeks away. I think this can be comfortably replicated with any PvE minigames, such as Pest Control, Great Orb Project, and Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza. I know that yet again we have gone a week without any new content, but let's at least acknowledge the positives. These quality of life updates have made the base game much more enjoyable to interact with, and I would say that this week especially has been one of the best. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.